Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is Pulse Niger News, and we bring you reliable, clear news from Nigeria and beyond. Before we dive in, if you value trustworthy updates, do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified when we upload new content. This story is heavy, but it's also one many people are watching closely. A 60-year-old American woman, named in reports as Jacqueline Bolling Elton, has tragically died while visiting Warri, Delta State. She reportedly flew all the way from the US to see a man she met. A 39-year-old Nigerian identified as Warri Olaide. What began as a hopeful visit ended in sorrow. According to multiple local news sources, she arrived in Warri on September 15th. On September 29th, she suddenly fell ill. She was rushed to a private hospital in Otokutu, then referred to Central Hospital in Warri, but was declared dead on arrival. The Delta State Police have taken Olaide in for questioning, and her body has been deposited for an autopsy to determine what really happened. There is no verified report at this time that establishes foul play, but the investigation is ongoing. Now, as we unravel this, I'll pause occasionally and ask, what do you think happened? Drop your opinion in the comments. Respectfully, of course. Do you think this was a medical tragedy, or do you suspect something deeper? I'll read your thoughts and highlight a few later in this video. First, let me walk you through the facts as best as we know them. She went all the way to Nigeria. That's not a small step. Meeting someone from another country carries so many variables: health, expectations, trust. From what's reported up until her sudden illness, nothing publicly flagged as ominous. She was staying at the house of her companion Olaide. Then she became ill on September 29th, was taken to medical care, and later pronounced dead at the hospital. Right now, the autopsy is central. It might reveal natural causes, a heart attack, stroke, severe infection, or other internal issue, or it might show something that demands further investigation. The medical findings will guide the next steps. The police custody of Olaide is a procedural move: questioning, gathering accounts, preserving evidence. That in itself doesn't equal guilt. Remember that. I want you to think, if you were in her shoes, traveling halfway across the world to meet someone, what precautions would you take? I hope as you watch this, you're thinking of safety, trust, and verification. Let me turn to the angles many viewers will ask about. The international element is important. When a foreign national dies abroad, their home country's embassy or consulate often steps in. The US Embassy may provide assistance to her family, help with legal matters, and watch over the investigation. As of now, I haven't found a public statement from the US Embassy about this case, but that could change as more evidence emerges. What about speculation? Look, I see people already online suggesting dark possibilities, but we must be mindful. Until the autopsy and full police reports are out, we should avoid declaring guilt or assigning motives. The facts we know are preliminary. That said, stories of older visitors meeting younger locals, especially across continents, tend to trigger suspicion, and that's understandable. But responsible coverage demands waiting for confirmation. Now, I want to engage you. What scenario makes sense to you? Was this a medical emergency or something more sinister? I invite you to share your thoughts below. I'll feature the most thoughtful comments in future updates. Let's also consider the human dimension. Jacqueline Bolling Elton is not just a headline. She's a person with a life, family, hopes, and dreams. She traveled trusting someone she cared about. Now, those left behind, her family, her friends, are waiting for answers. On the other side, Olaide's life is now caught in the crosshairs of public opinion and intense scrutiny. This is emotional for all involved. Okay, at this point, I'll ask again, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell. Doing that helps this story get to more people who deserve to know. Also, share the video link with friends or family who follow Nigerian news or stories of international relationships, because what we're about to unpack is deep, emotional, and important, especially for anyone in a long distance or online relationship. Now let's talk about possible medical causes and why the autopsy results will be the turning point in this case. Many people underestimate how physically demanding international travel can be, especially for older adults. Think about it. A flight from the United States to Nigeria can take over 15 hours, sometimes even longer with layovers. That's a long time for the body to be stationary, which can increase the risk of blood clots, dehydration, or cardiovascular stress. Add in heat differences, diet changes, and fatigue, and the body might struggle to adjust quickly. If Jacqueline had any underlying health conditions like hypertension, diabetes, or heart issues, those could have worsened without her realizing it. Maybe she felt fine before she left, but the stress of travel and the excitement of finally meeting someone she'd been talking to online could have taken a toll. These are all possibilities that the autopsy will clarify. Now, we should also note that the report says she was rushed to a private hospital in Otokutu, then transferred to Central Hospital, Warri, where doctors declared her dead on arrival. That transfer between hospitals often means the first facility couldn't stabilize her, or she needed better medical equipment. Sometimes seconds matter, and if traffic or logistics delayed her care, it could have made a difference. At this point, let me ask you all, do you think our hospitals in Nigeria are well equipped for emergency cases involving foreigners or travelers? Share your honest thoughts in the comments, because this case has again brought up the debate about emergency response, medical readiness, and communication between hospitals in Nigeria. And remember, if you're still watching, hit that like button right now. It helps me know you're following and you care about real stories that matter. Now, beyond medical possibilities, there's another side, the emotional and social side of international relationships. We've seen several similar cases, not always fatal, but often dramatic. Sometimes people travel across the world to meet partners they met online. Some visits go well, genuine love stories, but others end in shock because expectations clash, cultural differences kick in, or people realize they didn't truly know each other as much as they thought. Online communication can build emotional closeness fast, hours of calls, chats, and video meetings. But when the person finally arrives in real life, everything becomes different. Habits, routines, real personalities, they all surface. In Jacqueline's case, we don't yet know how long she and Olaide had been communicating, but for her to fly all the way to Nigeria, there must have been a strong emotional bond. Now, this is where I want to hear from you. Do you believe long-distance love can truly work? Especially when people come from completely different backgrounds. Let's talk in the comments. And please, no insults or assumptions, just real opinions. Back to the story. Reports say Olaide has been taken in for questioning. That's standard procedure when a person dies in someone's home. It doesn't mean he's guilty, but it does mean police need every detail. What time she fell sick, what she ate, whether she had medication, and how quickly she was taken to the hospital. These questions help investigators piece together a timeline. From the available reports, the Delta State Police Command is handling the case professionally. They've said her remains have been deposited for autopsy and further investigation is ongoing. So far, there's been no confirmed case of foul play, no charges, and no official statement suggesting violence. But here's the thing. Because this involves a foreigner, the case has already drawn global attention. In situations like this, the US Embassy usually gets involved to assist the deceased's family and to make sure due process is followed. Once the autopsy results come out, the embassy might release a public statement, either confirming natural causes or asking for further investigation. Now, let's pause for a second. These types of stories always spark online debates. Some people blame their Nigerian partner, some say the woman should have been more careful, and others think it's just an unfortunate medical tragedy. But beyond opinions, there's a big lesson here. Online relationships need real life safety planning. If you're planning to meet someone abroad, please do the following. Tell someone you trust where you're going, who you're meeting, and for how long. Stay at a hotel first, not in the person's house immediately. It gives you independence and safety. Meet in public for the first few days. Build comfort gradually. Keep your travel documents and emergency contacts safe, both digitally and physically. Get travel health insurance that covers emergencies. You never know when you might need it. And for those watching from Nigeria, if you're meeting someone traveling from abroad, understand that the moment something goes wrong, you'll be under immediate suspicion. So it's also important to document everything transparently and be cooperative with authorities. Now, let's talk about the public reaction. This story has taken over social media discussions. Some Nigerians are expressing sympathy and calling for a fair investigation. Others are warning about the growing trend of older women or men from abroad coming to meet younger partners here. It's become a global conversation about love, age difference, and cross-cultural expectations. But what strikes me most is how quickly people jump to conclusions online. Within hours of the news breaking, you could see comments ranging from conspiracy theories to outright accusations. We have to remember, behind every headline, there are real people in pain, families mourning, police working, and communities in shock. That's why I always remind viewers, let's focus on facts, no assumptions. Now, my dear viewers, I want to ask, what lesson do you think people should learn from this? Would you ever travel to meet someone you met online, or would you insist they come to your country first? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear your take. If you're still with me till now, thank you. And please, don't forget to like this video if you appreciate balanced, thoughtful storytelling. When you like and comment, it tells YouTube that people care about responsible journalism, and that helps this channel reach more people like you. All right, let's keep the gist flowing. Now, let's move into how these kinds of stories affect how the world views Nigeria and how we as citizens can change that narrative. Whenever a tragedy involving a foreign visitor happens, international media often paints Nigeria as unsafe or untrustworthy. But we know the truth. Nigeria is full of kind, loving, hardworking people. Unfortunately, a few bad stories can overshadow millions of good ones. That's why transparency in investigations like this is key, so that the world sees that our police system works, our justice system is fair, and our people care. And honestly, I must commend the Delta State Police Command for responding quickly and following due process. The fact that they have secured the scene, started an autopsy, and opened an investigation shows professionalism. However, the question still stands. Will the final report be made public? Nigerians deserve transparency, and the family of the deceased deserves closure. Now let's go deeper and wrap this up. Stories like this of love, distance, and tragedy are not new, but they always hit differently. And that's because they touch the very core of what it means to be human. The need for connection, the search for affection, and sometimes it's the risk we take when we follow our hearts. When we hear about Jacqueline Bolling Elton, a 60-year-old woman who left the comfort of her home in America to travel all the way to Nigeria What we see is not just news. We see emotion, we see courage, we see trust, and sadly, we see heartbreak. Many people online are wondering how this relationship started. From all indications, she and her Nigerian partner, Alawode Olede, had been communicating for a while, probably chatting, calling, maybe even video calling. And that connection must have felt strong enough for her to board that flight. She must have imagined a beautiful reunion, a moment to finally meet the person she'd been talking to for months or maybe even years. Unfortunately, what was supposed to be a joyful experience ended in tragedy. She reportedly fell sick in his home and passed away not long after. Her death shocked everyone, neighbors, police, and especially her loved ones back home. Now, for those just joining the gist, the Delta State Police have since stepped in. The man she was visiting has been taken in for questioning, not because they've declared him guilty, but because it's standard for investigators to speak to anyone present when such incidents occur. The police have also confirmed that an autopsy will be conducted to determine the true cause of her death. At this point, the case is still ongoing, and we should all avoid jumping to conclusions. But while we wait for official findings, there are serious lessons here that every viewer, whether in Nigeria or abroad, should take note of. First, love is beautiful, but safety is important. Whenever you plan to meet someone from another country, especially for the first time, please make sure your safety plan is solid. Book your own accommodation, have emergency contacts, inform your embassy or consulate, and tell friends and family where you are going. Those small steps could save a life. Second, health matters, especially during travel. Long flights, different climates, and new environments can affect the body in unpredictable ways. It's always wise to see a doctor before any major trip, especially if you have underlying health conditions. Third, transparency and documentation. For both locals and visitors, it's wise to keep records, chat logs, messages, addresses, and phone numbers. In emergencies, these details help authorities move faster and protect everyone involved. Now, beyond the facts, this story also exposes how quickly people online can twist narratives. Within hours of the news breaking, social media was flooded with all kinds of opinions, some genuine, others just chasing attention. That's the danger of the digital world. People comment without facts, accuse without evidence, and share rumors without thinking about the pain of those affected. So here's a gentle reminder to all of us. Before you share or comment, ask yourself, do I know the full story? Because sometimes silence and compassion are far more powerful than speculation. Now let's turn the lens inward for a moment. What do you think motivates people like Jacqueline, people who travel across the world for love? Is it loneliness or is it courage? Is it a search for something deeper? Maybe companionship, understanding, or simply adventure? I really want to hear your take on that. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Let's have a respectful and meaningful discussion. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer, just your honest opinion. Because when we talk about love and loss like this, we're really talking about ourselves, about how much we're willing to risk for human connection. And to those watching who might be in a similar situation, talking to someone online, maybe planning to travel or receive a visitor, please take this story as a moment to pause, plan, and prepare. Be open-hearted, but also be wise. Now, let's talk briefly about how Nigeria can handle such cases better. When foreign nationals die in the country, the way our authorities respond affects our international image. And I have to say, in this case, the Delta State Police Command has been doing what's expected, securing the body, opening an autopsy, and beginning investigation immediately. That's the kind of transparent response we need more often. However, after every investigation, there should also be clear communication. a press release, a report that tells the public and the world what happened clearly, factually, and respectfully. That's how you build trust, both locally and internationally. And to my viewers abroad, if you've ever visited Nigeria, you know this country is full of warm, welcoming, and kind people. What happened here is heartbreaking, but it doesn't define us. Nigeria is not a place of danger, it's a place of humanity. Tragedy can happen anywhere. The important thing is how we handle it. Now, as we move toward the end of today's talk, I want you to take a deep breath and reflect for a moment. A woman left her home in search of love. A man opened his doors to welcome her. Something went wrong. And now two families, one in America, one in Nigeria, that are connected forever by grief and questions. Life can be unpredictable. Sometimes joy and sorrow walk hand in hand. That's why we must value every day, every conversation, every person we meet, because we never really know what tomorrow holds. Before I conclude, I want to engage you again. What's your opinion on this whole case? Do you think online relationships can truly lead to lasting love? Or do you believe it's safer to stick to people within your local community? Tell me in the comments below. Let's talk, let's learn, and let's grow together. And please, if you're still here at this point, it means you care about stories that matter. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it so more people can hear it told the right way, with empathy, facts, and respect. In conclusion, the death of Jacqueline Bolling Elton in Warri is tragic, but it's also a powerful reminder about the realities of human relationships, health, and trust. The investigation will reveal what happened, but in the meantime, let's honor her memory by learning from her story. Let's choose safety without fear. Let's pursue love without losing wisdom. And let's treat one another with kindness, because love at its best should heal, not harm. Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciate this kind of storytelling, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. I'll keep following this case and bring you verified updates as soon as they come out. Until next time, this is Pulse Niger News saying, stay safe, stay informed, and stay human. Now over to you. What's your take? What lesson did this story teach you personally? Drop your comment below and I'll be reading and responding to many of them after this video.